The most broken weapon in Dark Souls that some of you may not even know of. A bunch of players think it is this here, the Black Knight Halberd. Now, how do you get this weapon? Well, there are two ways. The first is as you're on the path to the Darkroot Basin, Bonfire, and the Grasscrest Shield. Here you will run into this guy. He gives a 20% chance of dropping it, and if you don't get it here, the only time to get it after this is during the traversal just before the Gwynfall Gate. Luckily for you, I managed to get my hands on it after about 4 attempts just to see how broken it really is. So we start off in, okay, wait. So typically I would show the tutorial, Oscar, Undead Berg, all that. The footage is gone. The file corrupted, so instead we are picking up here at the Undead Berg. Also, I didn't want to use the mod because I'm lazy mainly, but I also wanted to get the authentic experience of using and getting the halberd, so I don't have it for now. So I went with my default of the Uchigadana by killing the Undead Merchant. This weapon required the minimum dex for the halberd anyway, and after I killed the Taurus Demon, I went on a crazy little journey. Over to my boy Andre, met up with him, upgraded Uchi a bit, went back down to Darkroot Basin to get the halberd then. I picked up the Grasscrest Shield like that would help me, but I still died to the knight a few times. I'm just really bad at parrying. And luckily on my 4th run, I finally got the 20% to hit and I got it. Excited to finally use this weapon, I went to my inventory. Oh, it required 32 strength. So quick speed run, I killed gargoyles because the Uchi cooks, went back to Firelink to kill Lodric and he gave me the Ring of Fap. Also I killed this dude, I forgot his name, I think he's a Fallen Crest Warrior though, but he gave me 1,000 souls. And I also went on to get all the lost undead souls around Firelink. I definitely didn't get all of them, but I think I got most of them, I think. I then went on to kill the Moonlight Butterfly and surprisingly, I actually did pretty good here. While I was here, I decided to take on Havel for his ring and I was able to do that without dying for my first time in any my playthroughs. Capra Demon was next, so to speed things up, I failed the jump skip many times until I got it so I could die. What am I even doing? Okay, for real this time, I died to fall damage. Okay, but this time I definitely got it and the door is open. I killed all the doggos and soldiers, went in, and actually struggled against more than just the dogs. I ended up just getting a few plunging attacks and then finishing off Capra pretty easily, and at this point I could finally hit the 32 strength requirement. I didn't mention this earlier, but this weapon requires Twinkling Titanite to upgrade. Now you may be saying, but Midworth, isn't that an endgame upgrade material? See, that's what I thought too, but I learned this weapon only goes to +5 because it is equivalent to a +15 normal weapon. Talk about a broken early game weapon. So coming back to Darkroot one time, I killed the little lizard who drops 2 Twinkling Titanite so I can upgrade it a little bit. And now it is time for the fun. I went down below Andre to test that on the Titanite demon and oh, this is gonna be amazing. After this, I went through the depths of hell, died a few times to the wizard up top for me being an idiot, but I got to the Gaping Dragon and he died in about 45 seconds. I'm not even kidding you, this was the quickest I've ever seen the Gaping Dragon die. I am starting to see why this is an endgame weapon. On to Blighttown, I literally speed ran through and I was met with Mildred. I too hit Mildred. This made me sad. So before Quelaag, I saw a summon sign for Mildred and decided to hit it since I had just slain Mildred for about 2 seconds prior. Unfortunately, Mildred did absolutely nothing. I expected to still have to dodge and pay attention, but the Black Knight Halberd is just shredding, dude. It's not even close. Quelaag died in less than a minute. In my first playthrough, not even 5 playthroughs ago, I struggled here for 2 hours. Moving on though, I rang the second bell and almost died to this egg girl parasites here. That would have been embarrassing. Glad I didn't do that. Anyways, while I was here, normally I kill Ceaseless, but then I remember I'm coming back here later for Demon Runes and I will kill Ceaseless then. Oh yeah, when you enter Fog Gate, you can't leave. Kind of forgot about that. I told myself I was going to do Ceaseless legit until I found myself stuck in here, and in order to not die with my souls, I just cheesed him. Next, I wanted to make sure everything here in Lordran was done before I went to Anor Londo. I was planning on doing everything I need to do here and coming back only after the Duke's Archives. It's funny how that turned out, but you'll see on that later. Anyway, I escaped the depths of Blighttown, went back to spawn to get the doll for the Painted World, and kill the Stray Demon. Now my halberd was still only +1 at this point, and just look how much damage it was doing. I get it's broken, but I really wasn't ready for it to do the same damage as my fully maxed out Chaos Blade. I picked up the doll and died to the Knight guarding it, spawned back in, killed Oscar again, and went on my merry way. Now another reason I came back here is because Twinkling Titanite is hard to get, until you go to Reddit, which told me you can give moss to Snuggly here and get some in return. You can do this with red, green, and purple moss, but I only had 2 of those, so I only got 2 shards. I also got some purification stones since I am known to get cursed a lot, and well, Seath preparation. I went back to Firelink, and guys, when I say I've never done Sen's Fortress faster, this is maybe my most hated place in the game. I ran through this. Usain Bolt would have to catch me to stop me. I did stop at the top for the bonfire though, and came back to kill the boulder throw guy, but after that I booked it to the iron golem, and I planned on letting him fall off, and then I saw my damage. There was just no reason to. He died in legitimately 10 hits. Keep in mind, I'm not even using power within here. I was so surprised, and here is some of my actual reaction. Oh my god, dude. This thing is so broken. Yeah, I just wasn't prepared at all. Now onto a Norlando. I quickly got through, 3 hit the first gargoyle, and went rushing across the ceiling with the painted warriors. Seriously, I am terrified of these guys, and this is maybe the hardest part of a Norlando. I got through thankfully, went across, and almost died on my run to the next bonfire, but luckily I was saved by this halberd 2-tapping the archer here. I just wasn't ready for that, so I kind of panicked. As I go to this bonfire and run through this area, let me tell you what prompted this idea, and here's a timestamp if you'd like to skip to that instead. So the idea came from Katarina fan on YouTube here, who posted a few shorts saying this weapon is broken and has a 20% chance to drop. And I didn't see anyone on YouTube do a full playthrough with it yet, so since I am terrible at Dark Souls and I've only played the first one, and at the time of scripting this, I still haven't even completed it. I thought it'd be for a good video, and so far, it's been a bit too easy. The Black Knight Halberd just shreds. The damage is insane, and the fact you can get it so early in speedrun strength to 32 just makes it even more broken in my opinion. This was a super fun run, don't get me wrong, but I guarantee if you did it again, you would just be bored. I went from a dex build struggling on gargoyles to killing Quelaag in 1 attempt with 8 hits. It was super fun, so please subscribe for more and let me know what you'd like to see me do next. Back to this though, it was time for Smo and Ornstein. Ornstein went down super easily, and Smo took a few hits before I forgot he basically one-shots you. So now I do the run back and oh yeah, I didn't open the door down here. Run all the way back down, kill them again, and back to the fight. Ornstein once again wasn't too difficult, he went down very quickly, and this thing was just shredding him. Smo now I was a bit scared of. I played it safe and looked at his health drop. I mean, this is just the craziest Dark Souls 1 weapon ever, I guess. They go down, and I go up to see the twins. Killing the illusion, I stop by the bonfire and upgrade a little bit, and then I kill the 2 bodyguards with ease here. Getting 10,000 souls, I head over to the giant forger to buy some twinkling titanite. I +5 my Black Knight Halberd, and this is when I learned you can't ascend this weapon any farther. So now all my souls will be going into my stats instead of this weapon, and let's see where we can end up at the end of this. I head back outside, remembering to not kill the firekeeper this time so I could rest at bonfires. Yeah, she followed me and fell off the map. I was so mad at this point, but I knew it meant one thing. I needed to first try Gwendolyn so I didn't have to do the run back. So for this time, I did just that. Now for the worst run back in the game, no matter what anyone says. Alright, this is the run until I forgot how to dodge. But this last time, I needed those souls. I locked in so hard, ran up, and even used the pillars to dodge the blue things that I forgot how to dodge last time, and Gwendolyn went down. I didn't even feel good enough to deserve the free chest in the end. So I just ran back to the bonfire and poured about 97,000 souls into some of my stats of strength and endurance. Before Gravelord Nito, my goal is to get 45 and 25 respectively. Now it's on to the Painted World, another place that I quite literally hate. So I decided to make a pro gamer move here. I was at 14,000 souls, just shy of another level up, so I farmed these first 3 ads until I could level up because I knew I just died to the turning the wheel part of this, and I don't want to go back down there. I level up and go in, and along the traversal I came across 14,000 more souls, so I farmed a bit more, leveled up again, and went down to turn the wheel. These 2,000 souls I lost were now gone forever, but I don't even care, it was so worth it. I went on to run under the bridge, and the knight got 2-tabbed by my halberd, by the way. This thing is just insane, and for Priscilla, she was no match for my +5 Black Knight Halberd. She died in 6 hits. And it was back to Lordran with me. I actually didn't know you could run back up here after the Firekeeper and Illusion were gone, so I ran to where the bird brings you in, back to the Sen's bonfire, and I just warped back home. Warping is so huge, and I just wanted to get here to be honest. This makes traveling around a lot easier now. After using some more souls, my vitality was now at 23 and my strength was at 45, and I'm now ready to start on the Lord Souls. So for the Lord Souls, we need the Covenant of Artorias notorious to kill the 4 knights, and holy shit, I didn't kill the Hydra yet. That's okay, we did that in about 6 hits, killed the golden golem, and went up to kill Sif. Of course, I struggled with the cats a bit too. I really hate this fight though, the poor puppers, man. The lore here about her trying to stop us from becoming like Artorias is enough to make any grown man cry. And in case you were wondering, I killed Sif in 7 or 8 hits. This weapon is still broken even nearing the end game. Anyway, we sadly kill her and it's on to the 4 kings. Just kidding, I actually did that for no linear reason, and instead I went to the catacombs. Honestly, the Tomb of Giants is my most hated area in the entire game, so I decided to just get it out of the way. I got to the bonfire, did the drop down, and died in the most unfortunate way possible. Volume warning. Roll, please! Minus 500 souls. Next time I did it correctly, and you're not going to believe this, but Pinwheel didn't die in 2 hits. It took 3 hits. I just think it's insane how hard this boss is even nowadays. Anyway, now it's time for a tomb. My goal here was one thing: kill Nito and leave. I guess that's 2 things. I had to remember where to go a few times though. When I found my way back to Nito, and oh my god, I forgot to place the Lord Vessel. Alright, back to Firelink, hit the serpent to wake him up, and alright, now we are good. So from what I've learned on my last run, it was time to kill him. Alright, maybe next time. I still hate this run back. I feel like I could run it in my sleep now that I've done it so many times. I hated this so much. For this last run, I was planning on just running at him with a sprint attack, leaving, and doing it again to avoid as many ads as I can. Instead, I just hit him whenever I felt like it, but I finally beat Nito. This was so aggravating. I truly hate this boss fight with everything in me. I already didn't want to be here, and this just cemented that feeling even further. Okay, now is actually 4 kings. I actually have been down to New Londo like 1 time to access Blighttown. Regardless though, we ran through New Londo, cleared the water, ran to the boss, and died. Yes, I died with the most broken weapon to the 4 kings. The second try though wasn't much better. Sure, I killed them all, but the fact that I was using the most broken weapon in the game and still didn't kill them before the next one spawned is just kind of a testament to how bad I am at this game. Luckily, they stayed pretty far away, and I went through about 12 Estus flask in this fight alone. I was not dialed in, to say the least. I was also naked due to the weight of this weapon without Havel's ring. I was fat rolling in any armor, so I had to go in like this. At least now though, we can move on to Seath. So a few things before I go to Seath. Remember when I traded with Snuggly for the Twinkling Titanite? I also got the Purification Stones for the inevitable Seath curse, so keep that in mind as we go here. Getting to the first Seath death was not hard at all. I also remembered to get the broken pendant before this, and now we are DLC ready. After I lost about 10k souls at Seath death, I realized I only had a +1 Estus. So my new goal before Seath was to get the Firekeeper soul at the bottom of the stairs, and I completely forgot where the key for it was. Oh yeah, and by the way, I was streaming the whole time during the second playthrough after New Londo, so chat was able to direct me to the chest room for the key, which was quite a ways away. After I got the key, I ran back, got the Firekeeper soul, went to Firelink, upgraded it, and now we're back. So now we can do the run back to fight Seath. This run back sucks, so after killing the clams, I decided to pop a few humanities for curse resistance. I am really doing too much against this curse. It should not be this big of a deal. It wasn't even needed either. I tucked myself into his right arm and I only took like 1 hit of damage. Apparently this is like a cheese thing, which I didn't know it was considered a cheese. I just kind of saw someone do it in a YouTube video, so my bad. But can we talk about the Black Knight Halberd's damage here? This thing did insane. He died so quickly and I got out of there, and that's 3 out of the 4 Lord Souls done. Now, you may think I got to Bed of Chaos after that. No, I actually went back to Blighttown because I forgot that Firekeeper soul. I literally accidentally stumbled upon it while just randomly looking for it, and now I am comfortable enough to take on the Demon Ruins. Taking on Demon Fire Sage was insanely easy. It is simply a rebrand of the Stray Demon and Asylum Demon, except now his name is reversed. I actually even had to take an Estus heal here. I know, scary fight, but he went down super easily, and Centipede Demon was up next. I kid you not, I spent the first 2 minutes of this fight trying to cut off his arm while he was 20 miles away. I'm not even kidding. Give me a break though. I've beaten this boss 1 other time, so I still didn't know how it works, but once I did get him in, the halberd destroys him, doing about 2 segments of his health per hit. Literally in the clip, if you go to the first time I swing to 30 seconds later, the boss was dead for 10 seconds already. Also, level update, I went to 30 vitality, 27 endurance, and 48 strength. I know I've been missing a lot of level updates, I'm sorry, but just bear with me. I completely forget to write this into the script, I'm sorry. So on to the marathon that is the Bed of Chaos. I was terrified, but I locked in because I really didn't want to do the run back. I killed the left side first and then died. Round 2, I got hit off almost immediately. Blood already was starting to boil. And round 3, the same thing happened. Round 4 though, this one I actually got the right side down, but I died almost immediately after missing the jump. On my 5th run back, I legit cannot make this up. I made the jump. This was the most impressive part. Also, when I got here, I was kind of terrified my Black Knight Halberd would be too big, but luckily it did hit the boss. With these souls, I pushed strength to 50, and with that, all the Lord souls were done, and it was officially DLC time. I ran past Andre one last time to get yoinked by Manus into the past. Sanctuary Guardian actually put up a fight this time. I even died. Once again though, in my last playthrough, I first tried him, so I didn't know his moveset. For my second playthrough, I was able to second try him. Really hope I second try Manus. Over to the most beloved fight in Dark Souls 1, Knight Artorias, and I was fully prepared for my clunky halberd to take 20 years to swing. But first, we gotta kill Chester to get the drippiest armor set in the game. So we did that, and now we can kill Artorias. Or not, forgot he's kind of hard. Round 2 was actually gross and insane, disgusting, all those words. I got hit and he started to do his power up, but by the time I stood up, he was able to get it off, explode, and kill me in the matter of like 3 seconds. This infuriated me, so I locked it in this time. I dodged everything, swung when I could, barely canceled his power up in time, and overall I was just dialed in. I even dodged some attacks that I didn't even mean to dodge. Throughout this whole run, I was kind of realizing why Artorias is such a fun fight. Instead of having the Chaos Blade do infinite damage to myself, I could just rely on him doing the damage to me and me doing the damage to him, not vice versa. Once he tried to power up here, I knew I had it this run. After knocking him out of it, with the 450 damage this thing did, I dodged, hit him once, got greedy and hit for 2 more times. I could have easily died here, but I guess it worked out. After all was said and done, I finally see why everyone loves the Artorias fight. Next up, I ran through the level 5 town hall, making sure to grab the crest key from the mimic in order to talk to Goff later, and it was on to Manus. Now, in my first playthrough, Manus brought me a lot of trouble. I think he took 9 attempts, and I could hardly get his moveset down, so I just had to try my best. This time, I was determined to not let that happen again. To be honest though, the first few swings, I completely forgot his attacks. So he got me this time, I won't lie, but on the second try, it was like all of it just came back to me. I dodged his hand, healed up super cautiously, and look at the damage. By the time we got here, this was ridiculous. I know this weapon is endgame ready and super busted, but still, it has insane damage. Also, during this fight, he spammed Hellfire like 5 times. I've legit never seen him do that, but I didn't get shotgun at all, so I can't complain too much. I was able to dodge and do infinite damage to him and actually kill him on my second try. The relief I felt in this moment was insane. I hated this part of the DLC. Honestly though, the fights were fun. In my first playthrough, I was never able to enjoy it because I just wanted to finish the game before it ended stream, so I was more angry than anything each time I died. But this time, I went through the DLC in under 45 minutes. It just goes to show how broken the Black Knight Halberd is, to be honest. But I actually was able to enjoy the fights this time, and I understand why this DLC is so good now. I upgraded a little bit and went to die to Calamy, hashtag rip these 10k souls, so Goff could shoot him down, and dude, the aura Goff has in this cutscene is insane. Dude clocks him from like 500 meters and Calamite goes down. I move in for the kill and he puts up a fight. I honestly did fine in this fight. Even in my first playthrough, I was about to kill him. Legit, he was 2 hits away from death on my first attempt. Yes, I know these 2 hits are like 7 Uchi swings, but Black Knight Halberd is broken, so he ended up grabbing me from miles away. To which I said, I'm fine, it doesn't do a lot, completely neglecting the fact that it makes you take more damage. I died nearly 1 second later to a singular attack. Round 2 though, guys, I seriously locked it in this time. I was dodging, getting attack patterns, and I was able to dodge his grab attack. I actually thought this fire did way more damage, but I learned it didn't. Almost dying in the process, Calamite goes down. With that, the DLC is finished and it is time for the final boss of Gwyn. Heading back to Firelink, I upgraded one last time, and as I walked to Gwyn, let me tell you the last time I fought this boss. In this video at the top of your screen, I almost didn't make it out sane. It took me over 20 attempts last time. Surely it won't happen again, right? Yes, correct actually. I did it on the first try. So the simple answer was I just didn't parry. Since the Black Knight Halberd did so much damage, I figured I could just treat him like a normal boss, so I did just that. I got a hit, he would attack, I would get a hit back, and luckily enough, if he ever did get hit, he for some reason would actually back off and let me get heals in. And with the damage of this halberd, the boss was done in no time. I actually thought I died because of the noise at the end after we both swung at the same time and hit each other at the same time. But after I realized I killed Gwyn on my first try, I finally felt that joy. Like I said, I couldn't enjoy it the first time. So for me, at 1 a.m., this was my beating the game for the first time moment. It felt super good and it was super fun. About the Black Knight Halberd, what they say is true. It is super broken, and my only complaint is the clunky feeling it has. It feels weird to swing, especially to aim, but once you get used to it, it is truly amazing. There are a total of 8 weapons that come from the tails of enemies you encounter in Dark Souls. These are weapons that are only attainable by cutting off the tail of a boss. For example, Priscilla's dagger is only available if you cut off her tail during the fight. In today's video, I attempted to beat Dark Souls by only using these 8 weapons. Real quick to go over the rules so we all understand. Rule number 1, all bosses, aside from the Asylum Demon, must be killed using a tail weapon. Rule number 2, all tail weapons must be used to kill a boss at least 1 time. And that's really it. In case you don't know every tail weapon in the game, I will quickly go over them. Remember, all of these are attainable by simply cutting off the tail of an enemy, by the way. First up is the Gargoyle Tail Axe from the Gargoyles fight. After that, we have the Drake Sword from the Hellkite Drake on top of the bridge after the Taurus Demon. The Gaping Dragon will give you the Demon King Great Axe, and once you hit Blighttown, you can head down to Ash Lake and you can get the Dragon Greatsword. Within the Painted World, you can obtain Priscilla's Dagger, and Seath will then give you the Moonlight Greatsword in the Duke's Archives. After that, within the DLC, the Sanctuary Guardian will give you the Guardian's Tail, and Calamite will reward you with the Obsidian Greatsword. Now that we are all on the same page, let's get into the run. I started off by naming my character Tails, as I saw it a fitting name for this run. I chose the Hunter class, and the reason for this was so I could do the cheese for the Drake Sword later on. Apart from that, I went with the Master Key, of course, because we will be needing it for the shortcut to Andre through Darkroot. We start off the run, and yes, I know, you can't beat Dark Souls using only tail weapons, unless you use a glitch or cheat to spawn in the tail weapon, but I chose to do it legit so I could get the authentic experience, and I'm too lazy to summon it myself. So for this, I got my sword, bow, and the Asylum Demon went down. It was an Ondolordran then, and I went all the way through the Undead Burg. Then I went over to find Andre, and before I get there, I take a short detour to introduce Havel to my friend Gravity. I've actually never done Havel without parrying, and I didn't think he was dying, and then his ankles broke for the final time, and it felt amazing. I did this so early because the weapons we will be using in the future are very heavy, and we will be needing more equip load in order to light roll, as you will see later in this video. I was able to make it over to Andre's bonfire, to which I then upgraded my short sword and dex. After this, I get the Firekeeper soul and go back down to Firelink. I run around, collect some souls and the chests quickly before turning in the Firekeeper soul to upgrade my Estus. After this, I made my way through a horde of undead who were very adamant about touching me, and the reason why I upgraded my short sword was the gargoyles. So let me explain. Once you hit the bonfire behind the Drake after the Taurus Demon, you can't get there without him leaving or killing the Taurus Demon, and the rule is you have to kill every boss with every tail weapon. So we couldn't leave the Drake Sword, hence I went to the gargoyles first and got the gargoyles tail axe in literally one swing. Remember, the rule is you have to kill the boss with a tail weapon. Nothing was said about harming a boss without one, but seriously, without spawning one in, I'm 99% sure this is the only way to do this. Either way, I could have equipped the axe and used it in the fight, but for some reason I decided to just die and come back later. Not even right away. Instead, I went over the moveset, which is pretty cool by the way. The heavy attack is this cool tail animation where it winds itself up. The light attack is a normal axe. But anyway, using the residence key, I got some gold pine resin and went up to fight the Taurus Demon. I still don't know why I went here instead of killing the gargoyles. I'm not expecting too much here, just normal plunge attack damage. And wait, is that just how good the gold pine resin is? I really hope not. That's actually really good damage. Anyway, Taurus Demon died in about 20 seconds, and that will be our first boss down. After this, it was time for the Drake cheese. I chose the Hunter for this, so I could have the bow and I could shoot his tail. I actually got concerned because by the time I got to the Drake Sword, I went through 28 arrows, meaning of the 30 it came with, I had 2 left. Not that the arrows are hard to get, but we did get the Drake Sword. Time to test it on gargoyles. Alright, let's see. And 152? Did it do bleed damage? I'm not sure what that was, but that's pretty good. Of course, we also had to try the heavy attack, which did about 180 damage. Not too much more than the light attack, but nonetheless, the Drake Sword, pretty good. And after the gargoyles went down, the first bell is now rung. Also, here's something funny for you guys. I'm not even sure when, but if you don't free Lautrec, he will eventually find his own way to Firelink Shrine. So I went back through the way you were supposed to get there in order to get the mystery key and free him, but when I got there, he was gone. I went to Firelink, and there he was. I tried to give Lautrec the Havel treatment, but I messed up the kick twice in a row, and then I just decided to fight him normally, which wasn't too bad. This then gave me the Ring of Favor and Protection, or the Ring of Fap for short. This helps both my stamina and health, and all the points going into strength later. This is so necessary. I also died to the Fallen Crust Warrior here. I'm not sure why I mentioned that, but he did die afterwards, giving me 1,000 souls. Anyways, it was now time to make my way to the second bell in Blighttown, and I could take the back way and completely skip Capra, but where's the fun in that? Of course, I did the skip to get there because after 5 playthroughs, I still don't know how to get there legitimately. After tickling the doggos, I go in, use a heavy attack to kill one of the dogs, kill the second, and then I panicked here for about 10 seconds against Capra himself. I literally almost died here and then proceeded to have my heart drop when I saw I only did 200 damage on a plunging attack. I knew the damage would fall off eventually, I just didn't think it'd be this soon. Thank the Lord though, it was only a fluke and I actually did pretty significant damage against him. I was then able to first try Capra Demon for my first time ever. What a good feeling. Onto the depths for our next tail weapon, the Dragon King Great Axe. Thankfully, Gaping Dragon decided to be very nice to me on this run and kindly let me chop off his tail while he just stood there. 3 of the 8 tails in, and I killed Gaping Dragon with little difficulty after a few more Drake Sword hits. I went back up and tried to wield the axe with as much strength as I could level, but it still wasn't enough to two-hand it. I then entered the back way of Blighttown and found myself in the Great Hollow on the way to Ash Lake. So I hate the Great Hollow. This area sucks, it's terrifying to get cursed, but I was so dialed I had to make it out of here alive so I could just homeward bone out. I dropped through the hell of the Basilisk, and I was honestly prepared to get cursed at any minute. I didn't though. I picked up the Claranthe ring and descended. I had no idea where to go. I just knew go down, and this was my first time in here and also my first time in Ash Lake. I saw the Hydra, but I didn't want to risk dying or hitting the bonfire and having to climb all the way out, so I booked it all the way to the dragon. No, like seriously, I was running like for minutes on end, terrified as the Hydra was chasing me. Thankfully, I made it there alive and I was able to get my first dragon scale of the run. More on that later. I took a few seconds to chop off his tail and I acquired the Dragon Greatsword. This thing is a beast, but more on that also later on. I lived and homeward boned out and onto Mildred. Oh, I died and I forgot to rest at the bonfire in Blighttown. I then decided to fight Quelaag with just the Drake Sword. I thought this was gonna go fine, and then I saw my moderately mid-mediocre damage. This was going to be a lot more effort than I thought. So much so that I actually died a few times. Quelaag actually gave me some trouble though. 4 deaths later, and I was able to kill her by remembering I've played the game before. And that is the second bell rung, and we are now ready for Sen's Fortress. While I was here though, might as well do Ceaseless, and I did this with the Gargoyle Tail Axe just to get that number up to 2. Of course, I cheesed it for the easy souls, but not before I got blasted by his fire attack, instantly killing me. Anyway, look how much I've been pumping strength. I want to two-hand both the axe and the greatsword, so I've really just been trying to pump as much strength as possible. Time to leave Blighttown and check out Anor Londo. And while I was leaving, I decided to get the Firekeeper soul and die for fun, because why not? Anyway, with these new weapons before Anor Londo, I actually forgot I should probably go get the doll back and spawn for the Painted World. So I did my best egg impression and headed back to say hi to the Asylum Demon's brother. Hello, good sir. For this fight, I used the Dragon King Great Axe, and yes, it did a pretty good amount of damage. I'm gonna be honest, the Black Knight Halberd is still better. I wasn't struggling at all, it was just dodge, attack, and running. Without any trouble, Stray Demon was now dead. The real trouble is this knight here. I got the doll, but I died to him here, and I needed those 20,000 souls back. I got the souls back, said goodbye to Oscar one last time, and with this, in preparation phase, I decided to kill Petrus and all the other cosplayers. I did this so I wouldn't have to fight them in the Tomb of the Giants later on, and also, you may be asking, have you upgraded your weapon yet? No. Every one of these weapons takes dragon scales and 10,000 souls per upgrade. I did not have the funds for this, and I just had to deal with it going into an Orlando. But since I was only 2k souls away, I killed the Titanite demon, got my souls, and then upgraded the Drake sword to level 1. Speedrunning through Sen's Fortress, I tried out the Dragon Greatsword, and it was kind of violating the Iron Golem. I knocked him over in 3 hits, and I decided to test the heavy attack, so it did about 411 damage. Pretty good, I'd say. The only issue is how heavy these weapons really are. They caused me to slow roll, but that really wasn't a problem in this fight. Iron Golem went down very easily, and now with the 4 of the 8 tail weapons I've used, all of them have been used to kill a boss, meaning so far we are on pace to complete our challenge. And by the way, as I run here, the reason you suddenly see some overlays is because I decided to stream this time, so tune into those as well. Anyway, on to Ornstein and Smo. Shouldn't be too bad, maybe just some fat rolling, just ISO either one. Oh, so fat rolling is pretty bad. On a more serious note though, I literally tried everything here. No matter what happened, I would die. And the one time I killed Ornstein, I immediately died to Smo because he spammed his shovel attack and it insta-killed me every time. I truly didn't know what to do. I was stuck here for over 2 hours. A fight that is normally easy for me, I now was struggling the most I've ever struggled with any boss in Dark Souls. Instead of rage baiting myself, I decided to go tackle the painted world of Ariamis to get Priscilla's dagger. A little tumble here and a glitch fall there, and we are already on to Priscilla. So here at Priscilla, we needed her dagger by cutting off her tail, of course. And it's not dropped. Her health is literally too low for me to hit. She will die and I won't get it, so maybe the Drake sword will do better? I was hurting her tail so much this fight, and thank God himself I got the dagger as Priscilla was 2 hits away from death. For a little bit, I actually thought these weapons were not going to be able to get the dagger due to their swing paths, or because you need more dex or something weird like that. With Priscilla dead, it was back to an Orlando to kill ONS, and the first fight back I lost 6k souls. By the way, another issue I had with these weapons, the greatsword swings so slow. There is a good chance Ornstein could just hit me out of any animation I do. And my dear viewer, I thank you so much for watching, and I would like to say I technically didn't cheat based on the rules I laid out earlier, but I was so desperate I summoned another gamer. Meet Chosen Marcio, my savior and the reason I would be clearing ONS. Honestly, he kind of just did a lot of baiting, and we really just took a 1v1 and I killed Ornstein on my own. I also ran through all my Estus, but we don't need to talk about that. Anyway, thanks to Marcio, I was able to clear Ornstein and Smo, but trust me, I felt horrible about this. I didn't even feel like I deserved it at all. Just know it is possible, but I was so pissed in the moment, I didn't even think it through. Anyway, we go up to see Guinevere and sorry about that. Shoot her and time for Gwendolyn. Yeah, just kidding, I'm weird, and some reason I went to Pinwheel now instead of Gwendolyn. I truly don't know why I'm like this. Like, watching this back genuinely just pisses me off. So I placed the Lord Vessel, and now it was time for Pinwheel. I skipped the entire catacombs because why torture myself anymore, and then I decided to use Priscilla's dagger for Pinwheel. I knew I'd be using debatably the worst weapon for this, and the dagger isn't bad, it's just all my stats were currently in strength, and I just had 20 dex just to hold the thing. Pinwheel ended up giving me the most trouble I've ever had on him, but I never died, so I guess it was fine. I think the main reason I did Pinwheel now was just to get the dagger out of the way so I don't have to worry about it later on. Anyway, now is the time I decided to do Gwendolyn. So I'm not gonna lie, this fight was very easy. If you played it super tediously, didn't try to roll at all, he was just dead. Fortunately, with these souls, I pumped more into endurance and strength, and here's what we are looking like after an Orlando. After this, we needed to set up the DLC, so I was off to kill the Hydra, and holy shit, I didn't kill the Moonlight Butterfly. Alright, 4 hits later, and we're good. Also, please don't mind my footage here. I forgot to hit record, so this is low quality coming from my stream. After the Hydra, we killed the Golden Boy, and we are now ready for the DLC. While I was here, I tested my luck with Sif for the Covenant of Artorias, and thankfully, I didn't struggle too much. See, notice my Estus getting lower? That's clearly a sign of struggling. I blame these hits for not registering registering even though they are clearly hitting the boss. Still not sure how they didn't. Anyway, now we can fight the four kings. With these souls, combining this endurance with Havel's ring, I am finally able to quick roll with the greatsword. I even put on a sack for a little extra armor too. From here, I decided Lost Izalith was the play. It was not. Anyway, Demon Fire Sage was up first and I got smashed when he first saw me. Second try though, and he wasn't bad at all. He did his normal moveset and I was able to take him down with very little difficulty. After this, we needed to kill the centipede demon. How does he come over again? Was it here? Okay, I'm dead. Maybe I run over here? Okay, the fire kills me. Maybe if I go to the right and then move back? Alright, that didn't work either. So I ended up doing this here. I put on the gold flamed armor in order to get all the way over here without dying to the lava on the right, and this made the centipede demon come towards me, and suddenly I was able to hit him. The only thing I needed to do was not get grabbed or jumped on. Also, did you know centipede demon has a grab attack? Because prior to this run, I had no idea he did. Anyways, centipede demon went down without too much difficulty, and next up was Bed of Just kidding. Bed of Chaos has a very low health pool. I think he literally has 1 HP. So for this, I decided I was going to use the Moonlight Greatsword. The reason for this is because it actually scales off of Faith, which I was not gonna grind out for 28 Faith. Instead, I speedread through the Duke's archives, struggled with the boars for a bit, used the Ring of Sacrifice during Seath's first death, and then pondered how this giant greatsword hits this guard through this massive cage. I went around, eventually got the Firekeeper soul, and now it was time for Seath. Now to get the Moonlight Greatsword, you have to cut off Seath's tail. Nothing new, shouldn't be too hard, right? You need to hit it in such an exact spot, and I still am not sure what part of his tail that is. After trying for long enough, I actually had to look it up. Yeah, I YouTube things, no shame in it. Anyways, this didn't help. Thank you to Fish the One in chat for telling me this, but he said to use Seath's attack to stun him by destroying the crystal in the back of the room, to which I did and failed. And again, and a few more times. So upon this, I almost gave up. Almost. Then I thought, okay, it's probably hit based. I threw in my gargoyle tail axe and tried to hit as much as possible, and nothing happened. So for my final attempts, I thought, okay, it has to be damage based. And sure enough, after Seath stunned himself and about 4 hits with the demon great axe, the Moonlight Greatsword was mine. Also, yes, Seath killed me here. Yes, I wanted to die here. This is because I want to save him for the Sanctuary Guardian's Tale later on, since he is probably one of the easiest bosses left. Anyway, after this, I was now able to do the Bed of Chaos. For the first time ever, I was actually able to get both sides done in one run, and apparently just sticking to the inside after killing one of these sides works just fine. Now, once I get to the middle, which is probably the easiest part, that's where Chaosy Boy decided to turn it up a notch and troll me a little bit. I died here about 4 or 5 times, but finally I went through, and with my Moonlight Greatsword doing 15 damage, Bed of Chaos was now defeated. And if you're curious, here is what the cool charged attack looks like with the Moonlight Greatsword. Pretty cool. 60,000 souls later, I upgraded a little bit, and 6 out of the 8 tail weapons are now completed. Quick recap, we killed the Stray Demon with the Great Axe, Priscilla and many others with the Drake Sword, Butterfly and many others with the Dragon Great Sword, Pinwheel with Priscilla's Dagger, Taurus Demon with the Gargoyle Tail Axe, and now Bed of Chaos with the Moonlight Great Sword. All that's left is the Sanctuary Guardian's Tail and Calamete's Tail, which will probably be harder than Seath's. So at this point, we still have a few things to do. Seath, Nito, and the 4 Kings, as well as all of the DLC bosses. We absolutely need to do the DLC for the tails, unfortunately, and since we have so many bosses with 2 tail weapons left, there are still so many places to go. Ultimately, I decided to start by stepping foot into the DLC and getting the Sanctuary Guardian's tail. After dying in typical Dark Souls fashion, it took literally 1 hit to sever his tail. I was even able to kill him in the same run, and like I said, Seath will be the one who dies to the Sanctuary Guardian's tail, and the reason for this is, well, yeah, just look at these stats. Not too impressive of a lineup here. The only thing that this has going for it is the bleed damage. So let's take it to Seath and try it out. Hello Seath, I'm back. Keep in mind, this was the damage after I upgraded it to +6. Also, I couldn't get the bleed to proc, so I figured we should just get some more souls, and I bailed on Seath for now. And then I took my anger towards Nito, everyone's favorite boss. Literally, I'd rather fight 10 Bed of Chaos than Nito once. Before going in, I became human and said what's up to Leroy. Hey Leroy, check check it out. I can one-hand my ultra greatsword now, so I can parry you. Good chunk of damage there, and 20k souls. Let's not lose those here. So I actually didn't know that Leroy gives you 20k souls, so then I went back to an Orlando to upgrade the Guardian's Tail even more. I got it to level 9 and then went back to Nito. It went so badly. I was literally dying to everything at Nito. His shockwave, the skeletons, and the worst part, I tried using the greatsword's heavy attack to hit him and the skeletons, but without armor, I would get knocked out of it from one skeleton hit. Also, it didn't help that Nito kept using his stupid ground sword attack, which is definitely easy and fun to dodge. Seriously, this boss. He's waiting for now. Instead, I need to kill Seath. Hey Seath, I'm back for the 3rd time. Can I please have you die to this abysmally bad weapon? It wasn't easy, but after 10 minutes and 12 seconds of straight up doing 60 damage per hit, Seath died. The fight wasn't hard per se. My issue was just sometimes getting caught in the crystals. Also, I ran out of Estus, so mid-fight I had to put on humanity. Thankfully, Seath moves very slow, and you can kind of hide yourself within the boss for a bit. And remember what I said about bleed not proccing? During this 10-minute fight, I never once got it to proc. I'm pretty sure Seath is either immune to it or just it didn't do enough damage. Nonetheless, that was easily the longest fight I've ever had against the Scaleless, and I'd like to never do that again. That is now 7 out of 8 tail weapons down. After Seath, I did not want to go back to Nito, so instead I stepped back into Ulasil to attempt Artorias. After forgetting his attacks, I don't think he's going to be much of an issue. The issue now consists of getting Kalameet's tail, killing Manus, and Nito. This here is where I paused the run and decided to do some research. I was currently using this ultra greatsword. The issue is it swings very slow. Very slow. It also weighs a lot. I looked into it. The obsidian greatsword from Kalameet is not an ultra greatsword. This means many things. It will swing faster and it will weigh less, meaning I can put armor on. With this information, I decided to run through Artorias and then Kalameet, saving Manus for the last DLC boss. Artorias was, well, not really bad at all. I used the ultra greatsword and it made me realize how much of an attack window you actually have against him. Sure, he's aggressive, but I only died twice in total. Once I just focused on dodging and trading blows, suddenly he became a super easy boss. This was mainly due to the high damage I was doing, but I still love this fight. And next up, you may think it's Manus, but no, I decided to run through Ulasil for the crest key and kill Kalameet. Once I got the crest key, Goff pings him out of the air and I go in and discover why people say it is so hard to cut Kalameet's tail off. At first, I thought it'd be on the ground always. It was not. Then I thought I can chase it and he'll do tail attacks. He did not. Then I thought, okay, YouTube video time. Yeah, I watched another YouTube video. I have no shame about it. Besides, it didn't even help. I got it to work one time and I still had no idea what I was doing. The main thing about Kalameet's tail is where you stand, where you hit it, and the specific attack pattern you need. I'm pretty sure you can use Havel's armor to just poise lock everything, but the way I went with was waiting for him to do his flying charge attack, rolling towards him, and then you have to stand directly under his tail. So if you want to do this for yourself, you need to stand directly under his tail, otherwise he would just kind of shy away instantly. It will take some time, but it is possible. After 3 tries, I ended up doing it, and then trying to kill him in the same run, I died. And by the way, Kalameet looks really weird without his tail. You kind of don't realize it until you've done it. As for my first test of the obsidian greatsword, it was ironically on Kalameet himself. It did a little over 100 damage and 180 with a charged attack, which, by the way, the charge attack for this weapon is a super cool fire field that emits out from you. It's awesome. I took another 10-minute fight here, and since I just took 30 minutes trying to get his tail, I was already locked in on his patterns, and a few too many running attacks later, Kalameet succumbs to his own tail. And that's it. Every single tail weapon has been used to kill a boss, and you will see in a second how every boss will also die to a tail weapon. Before that though, for some reason I decided to go get the 4 kings out of the way, and I typically struggle with this area and the 4 kings themselves, but despite my low damage and having 3 kings on the field at the end, I did learn a few things. Number 1, you don't have to kill every king, you just have to finish the HP bar. 2, there is an arena barrier here. You can literally see me rolling into it here at the end. I didn't know this was possible. And with the 4 kings dead, the last Lord Soul is Nito. Alright. So for Nito, I was sick of the skeletons, and that was literally my biggest concern. So instead, I went to Blighttown and started farming the large club dudes. I got it in 3 tries, made it divine, soul farmed and upgraded it a bit, and then took it to Nito. And then, this is kind of now the easiest fight I've ever done. I will now be doing this with every single playthrough I do. The skeletons died and they stayed dead, and Nito was probably the easiest boss I've ever fought. It was not difficult at all because the boss fight is literally the reviving skeletons. So we are now done with all the Lord Souls. And by the way, in case you guys were wondering, Nito died to the Obsidian Greatsword as well. Our last boss is a speedrun to Manus. I used the same thing I did against Calamite, but with my friend V. I wasn't really sure what he was doing, but he came in clutch. I'm just gonna be honest, I didn't break any of the challenge rules. I'd even got off the killing blow if we get technical here, but I just wanted Manus dead. I did not feel like fighting him doing 100 damage per swing. And thanks to V, even though we died once, we then killed him the next time. I'm going to be honest, if I didn't use a summon, I was going to use the bow cheese. So delete your comments now, I don't care enough. Manus is my most hated fight in the entire game. That's not true, Nito exists. Manus is my second most hated boss fight in the entire game, and I don't care to spend another 30-minute boss fight doing 100 damage a swing. So anyway, it was finally time for Gwyn. I tried the Obsidian Greatsword first, and yeah, that's not gonna be enough damage. Oh well, nothing a Dragon Greatsword and Hornet Ring can't fix. Yeah, Gwyn, try to stop me now. Okay, I'm convinced the bridge is the real final boss of this fight. Anyways, after dying to Gwyn a few times because I can't parry, eventually I got a good loop in, and that was it. With the final parry, and I kind of kicked him when he got up. I didn't mean to though. And I did a light attack to finish off Gwyn. Just like that, my first official Dark Souls challenge run was completed. This journey was so special, and all I ask is for a like and subscribe. If you made it this far into the video, thank you so much for watching. Here in the background, I was breaking all of my weapons' durability as a send-off. This was pretty fun and also pretty hard. I played very differently than I ever have in Dark Souls, and I just hope you got the same enjoyment out of it that I did. Also, if you attempt this challenge, this can act as an unofficial official guide to help you on your journey. Again, please subscribe. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.